The House Gnome by S.M. Dotson. The house gnome evolved a set of behaviors, allowing it to survive in a human household. The species Domus Dryadalis is very austere, and rarely do they leave a trace. For example, my house gnome will leave a plate of food uneaten if it is left out for it in an ostentatious manner. It's not humbleness alone, I think, on the part of the house gnome, but it's more of a survival mechanism. Mankind has always taken joy in capturing fairy folk. So anything resembling a trap is avoided by nature. Alternatively, if I only leave crumbs, accidental droppings, my gnome will eat it, but he won't be happy. The best way to provide a reasonable meal for your house gnome is to fix your own plate, then take a tiny piece from each type of food and set them on a chip of cedar. I know he likes cedar because he takes pieces of it from the wood pile and lines the perimeter of the pantry floor with it. I once constructed a miniature table and chair for my gnome, and in the morning only splinters remained. I don't think gnomes like to be thought of as little versions of humans. Nevertheless, the gesture was an insult to him. The way I know my gnome is happy is when he leaves insects and rodents for me in front of the pantry door. His nighttime kills. Mice, spiders, and cockroaches must be like monsters to him. My house gnome can make animals unconscious. This is one of the most curious traits. It must be the central gnome survival tool through the ages. Occasionally, I find my cat passed out in odd places. Puss is often asleep near the pantry, as if she had been sniffing under the door and suddenly decided to take a nap. I find mice this way as well. Often the mouse is sleeping right under the cat's nose, both snoozing, as if the gnome placed the mouse where the cat could catch it. Is this his entertainment, perhaps? Maybe some gnomes make bargains with household pets. The gnome supplies the rodents, and the cat leaves him alone. Not likely, though. The sleeping spell is the critical factor in the gnome's survival, and cats rarely keep their word. The house gnome's sleeping spell is actually quite formidable. A former girlfriend, who would clean parts of my house for me when I was out, fell victim to my little roommate. One evening, I returned from work late, and she was face down on the kitchen floor, near a spilled bucket of mop water. There was a tiny brown mouse sleeping next to her nose, damming the spilled soap water and preventing it from entering my slumbering girlfriend's airways. From then on, I only cleaned my house during the day, never at night when the house gnome might be about. I'm not afraid to be put to sleep, but I don't want him to feel threatened by me. He has become the most fascinating thing in my life, as I have never really sought to move to a better house, even though the neighborhood's fallen apart and crime is rampant. I have always tried to treat him with respect. Well, one night, I came home to find a dead man on the living room floor. The trespasser had pried open a window and crawled in. I called the police. Later, the report came back. that the thief had a small mouse lodged in his throat. And there were numerous carpet fibers packed deep into his nose. He had suffocated. The coroner never stated that the thief became unconscious prior to suffocating, but I knew better. The house gnome had put the burglar to sleep, lodged a mouse down his gullet, then packed numerous fibers into his nasal passages with his tiny arms for safe measure. I hope my advice is clear enough by this point. Don't mess with the house gnome. Either treasure it, treat it with respect, or move to a different house. The House Gnome by S.M. Dotson.